Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a massive shift in how businesses build software. Seriously, we're talking about a fundamental change that's happening right now, and it's all powered by AI and low code coming together.
Okay, let's really dig into this because this one sentence, this is the key to understanding everything else we're about to talk about. It's not about how fast you can type code anymore. It's about being able to clearly tell an intelligent system what you want to achieve, your intent, and then letting it handle the how.
So, what does orchestrating intent actually look like in the real world? Well, the main idea here is that we're evolving way beyond simple microservices. The future is all about what are being called context-aware agentic ecosystems. And yeah, that's a mouthful, but it just means building systems that understand the why behind a task, not just the what. And because of this shift, how we measure productivity is getting completely turned on its head. For years, it's been about lines of code, right? More code, more progress. Well, that's over. The new gold standard is time to context. Basically, how fast can you give an AI all the information it needs, the business rules, the data, the user goals, so it can actually do the work for you?
Now, this new way of working isn't built on just one piece of technology. It's powered by what the source material calls the triple threat. It's this convergence of three really powerful forces that are working together not as separate tools, but as one single unified engine for building software. And here are the three pillars. First, you've got Agentic AI, which can act on its own to get things done. Then you have low-code platforms, which give you all the structure and the guardrails. And finally, platform engineering, which creates that solid, scalable foundation for everything to run on. Getting how these three lock together, well, that's everything.
I love this slide because the metaphor just makes so much sense. Think of it this way. Platform engineering builds you a perfectly smooth paved superhighway. The low-code platform then comes in and adds all the guardrails to make sure you stay on the road and everything is safe. And the AI agents? They're the self-driving cars, the high-performance engines, speeding down that highway safely within the guardrails to get you to your destination.
Okay, so what happens when you combine these three pillars into this unified engine? You get a massive, and I mean massive, leap in productivity. We're talking about a true revolution in speed. And it's not just about writing code faster. It's about completely eliminating whole categories of manual work that we used to do.
70%. Let that number sink in for a second. A 70% reduction in manual effort. So how is that even possible? It's because we're getting rid of all the glue work. You know, all that tedious, painful stuff like connecting systems, debugging pipelines, and onboarding new developers that just slows big projects down to a crawl.
Let's look at a real-world example, getting a new developer up to speed. It used to take weeks, right? Weeks for even a senior engineer to really wrap their head around a complex system. Now, an AI agent can scan the entire codebase, map out every dependency, and literally suggest a meaningful first task in a matter of hours. Weeks of work just collapsed into a single afternoon.
And it's the same story with our deployment pipelines. You know the drill. A build fails, an alarm goes off, and a developer has to drop everything to go dig through lines and lines of logs. In this new world, an agent sees the failure, figures out the problem, suggests a fix, and runs the tests, all autonomously, maybe before you've even had your first cup of coffee.
This really gets to the core of how the actual work is changing. The AI is taking over what some people are calling vibe coding. All that repetitive stuff like setting up projects, writing boilerplate code, and creating basic user interfaces. And this frees up human developers to focus on actual engineering, the really hard, high-value problems of system architecture, security, and making sure the business logic is just right. So this shift in the work naturally leads to a huge change in the roles. The job of a developer is really evolving from being a writer of code to being an editor of it. So let's explore what that means and how the platforms they use are changing right along with them. This table just lays it all out perfectly. You see, low-code platforms used to be built for humans, with things like drag-and-drop UIs and static API connectors. Now, they're becoming the front door for AI agents. So instead of static connections, agents use tools dynamically. Instead of simple role-based access, we're talking agentic identity. And instead of drag-and-drop, we're getting generative UIs that are created on the fly based on context. And this brings us to a really critical concept for any large company, the governed sandbox. This is the secret sauce. It's how you get all the power and speed of AI without causing total chaos. You let the agents run free and innovate, but they can only touch your core systems through this secure, audited, and totally controlled environment. It's freedom, but with really strong safety nets. So what does this actually look like day to day?
Well, a developer no longer just gets a list of a dozen small tickets. Instead, a product architect gives the system a high-level business goal, just like this one. It's a complex, multi-step request that spells out the desired business outcome, not the technical steps. And then, the agentic system just goes to work. It takes that high-level goal and breaks it down into all the nitty-gritty engineering tasks. It figures out the database changes, the compliance logic, the user interface, the testing, the whole shebang. The developer's role has officially shifted from being the writer of the code to being the editor and the final reviewer of the agent's plan.
Which brings us to the final and, honestly, the most important question. What does all of this actually mean for the business? Because this isn't just about cool new tech. It's about creating real, measurable value and a competitive advantage that can actually last.
The ROI here isn't about saving a little money on developer salaries. We are talking about massive business impact. You can finally modernize those ancient legacy systems without a risky, multi-million-dollar replacement project. You can automate entire workflows, like taking a loan approval process that took 2 days and shrinking it down to 3 hours. That's what creates real defensibility.
And this right here, this is the ultimate takeaway. Your company's competitive advantage, its moat, is no longer the code itself. Pretty soon, AI agents will be able to generate good enough code for almost anything. Your true defensible advantage is going to be your unique, proprietary business data and the rich context you can provide to those agents. So as you think about the future of your own company, your own team, it really all boils down to this one question. In a world where an AI can write the code for you, what is your real, lasting competitive advantage? Is it your code, or is it your context?